Hi, this is Steve. Welcome back to Scale Model Kit Review. In this video, I'll be featuring Eaglemoss's Ghostbusters Ecto-1. I am on issue 4, stage number 8. Now wait a minute. Wait. Let me take this off. I'm finished hunting ghosts, so we'll move on. But anyway, with issue 8, we get to build the engine. Now this fantastic motor in the Cadillac Ghostbusters car. Very cool V8, and we'll show you how we install a lot of the parts for this motor. Also with this issue, we did receive the license plate. So that's very cool for you to display in your hobby room and such. And this is really cool. So I should have showed this in the previous video, but I totally forgot about it. But it does come with issue 4. So without further ado, let's get started on stage 8. Welcome back. Let's look at the instructions for stage 8. And with stage 8 we can see all the parts that are included here on this breakdown. And as you can see, we are going to be assembling the right engine block. We have lots of small little parts that we're going to install on the right engine block, and it looks like it eventually will get fitted to the main engine. A lot going on here, a lot of small tiny pieces, so tweezers are definitely going to be required here. Let me get the parts out and we'll look at them real close, and then we'll assemble this issue. I will be right back. Here's the parts for stage 8. A lot going on in here. There's actually a bunch of bags with screws thrown in here, so be careful with that when you go to take everything out, that you don't lose any of those bags with the screws. So let me take these out and we'll get a closer look. Here's the parts as they're presented in the blister pack. Lots of small pieces and parts in there. We'll look at those here in a second. The screws we received, they're separate. AP screws, DM screws, BM screws, BP screws, and FP screws. Here's a close-up of the parts. We have a lot of small fiddly parts here. So I'll go ahead and start from the right, working my way to the left. We have the right cylinder head, we have the wire junction assembly, we have the cylinder head cover, fuel pump cover, fuel pump bracket, fuel filter, fuel filler cap, ignition coil, vacuum advanced unit, dipstick for the transmission, starter motor, drive pinion, coil wire, and some tweezers. So we have some tiny parts in some bags. I will show you those in a close-up video here next. All these tiny parts came in separate bags, so I'll pull them out and we'll get a closer look and identify them. Ignition coil plug, starter solenoid, ignition coil cap, 8 spark plugs, distributor cap plugs, there's 9 of them there. Alright, let's get started. Step 1, we assemble the exhaust manifold to the head, and it simply just inserts into this. You guys can see that. Inserts in. And then we have 3 screws that need to go in. These will be AP screws. My favorite part of this build is building this engine so far. I really dig it. They call them AP screws. P for plastic. And that's done there. next thing we do, we have to put the valve cover on. We have to sandwich the wire holder against the head and valve cover, just like that. There you go. And it looks just like that. We put in 4 BP screws. And one more. When you feel a little resistance, go ahead and stop. You don't want to over tighten these. They'll definitely strip out. And there we go. That looks great. Next, we mount the valve cover and head to the side of the block. And that simply just fits down just like that. It only goes one way. Now, last time I had a hard time getting these smaller screws in here because these require the AP screws, and they just seem like they're a little bit too large for these holes here. Actually, this looks a little bit better than before, so I'm going to give it a try. Just like that. Yeah, these are going in a little easier. Definitely. Good. Perfect. And installed on the side of the engine. Very good. Now in step 2, we can proceed and install the right engine into the block. Now it's simply going to slide in place. It's kind of a tight squeeze that goes in there. We're going to be using DM screws, metal screws for this. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and lubricate those holes that are in there, if you can see them, where the screws go into, with my Vaseline. And I use this type of lip balm here. I also use these micro applicators to apply it. There we go. Makes it easier for the screws to cut into the threads. And this simply just slides down into place. If you can kind of see that. Slides in on the back and on the front. Almost like a puzzle here. There we go. Nice on the bottom. Check the top. Everything looks good all the way around. Great. We will put the DM screws in. It's started, not tight yet. This one I can tighten down all the way. Good. And that's tightened all the way. Great. That looks fantastic. Now, that looks like a V8. Very cool. I will be right back. Next, I assemble the fuel pump and filter. And that simply mounts to this area right here. I believe there's a locating tab for that, which there is. Just like that. We use an AP screw for that. Going right in. That looks great right there. Next we assemble the fuel filter. We simply take the two parts of the fuel filter and put them together, and you can see there's a keyway to prevent the top of the fuel filter from turning. We'll line that up, goes into the detent, and then that mounts to the bottom of the pump housing. And I think the easy way to do this is to take our long FP screw and put it through the hole on the housing first. Just like that. And then go with our fuel filter itself. There's a longer one and a shorter one. You can see that. And that looks like, according to the illustration, that's how it looks. And I'll go ahead and tighten it down. Perfect. There that is. Next we mount the fuel pump and filter to the top of the engine, and you can see that's how the engine is configured there. It's actually going to get mounted right here to the top. Now I see. There's a little detent that this goes onto. And it's on there now. Then we put the cap on, just like that. And they want us to use a BP screw. That's fantastic looking. Look at that. The detail on that is fantastic. I love it. Now we assemble the ignition coil. I'm going to go ahead and put the back piece on first. That just snaps down on that. And then we'll put the coil lead on the front, and that just slides in just like that. Now we'll mount this to the top of the engine. Now the coil gets installed on the top of the engine right here. There's an alignment tab and where the screw goes in. It is going into metal. So once again, I'm going to put just a little bit of Vaseline on that hole. And we're going to line this up. And it goes just like that. Screw in, and we just simply screw it down. Perfect. Step 6, we install the spark plugs, and this is what they look like. There's 8 of them. And we also install the distributor cap plugs, and that's this right here. There will be 9 of those. I'm going to show you one of each, and then I'll do the rest off camera. So it's an 8-cylinder engine, and you have 4 holes on each side of the cylinder. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 on the other side. Tweezers will be very helpful for this. We're simply going to snap them in. There's no glue. Just like that. Perfect. Here's the distributor cap, what it looks like. Simply going to go on top. I'm going to help it push down. There we go. So we're going to install all the others 8 of them that need to go in here, and I will be right back. Spark plugs are all in on the right side. They went in very easily. They do have some grips, so you really don't have to super glue them, and I wouldn't recommend super gluing in case you need to take them out for any reason. We'll check the other side. And the other side looks just as nice. And let's look at the distributor. Put the caps in on the distributor, and they look very good too. And they squeezed in too very firmly, and I would not glue them down just yet, not till you install the wiring. So the next step is we've got to install some parts on the distributor and the coil. Now we install the vacuum advance unit on the distributor, and it just simply slots in on the side of it. Looks great there. Next we install the dipstick for the transmission on the back side of the engine here. There's a slot for it. It is keyed to go in just one specific way. And I'll use my tweezers to get it down in there tight. There we go. Perfect. So that's what that looks like. And lastly, we'll install the coil wire to the distributor. That's good there. And I'm going to turn it a little bit just so we get a little bit longer. We'll wrap that around and put it on the coil. Perfect. Looks great. Now let's go to step 7, fitting the starter motor. This will require a BM screw. So that screw is actually going to screw down into this on the side of the bell housing. So I'm going to lubricate it. There's an alignment tab on this. Kind of see it there. Simply going to align inside of there. Just like that. We'll put our BM screw in. we go. That's on there tight. Next we'll put the end cap of the starter in through it. And it goes in one way. There we go. And we'll secure that on the back side with an AP screw. You can kind of see that. Checking to make sure there's no detent on that. There we go. Hold it firmly. And that's tight. Very good. Next we'll assemble the starter solenoid onto the starter, and it has an alignment tab here. There's a corresponding hole on the starter. We'll put an AP screw in on the back side. And there it is. Very nice. That is all we do on this engine. I will be right back. And that completes stage 8 of this build. We put a lot together on the engine. We put all the spark plugs in. We put the right-hand engine side in. We worked on the distributor, the fuel pump and filter, exhaust manifold. Wow, we did a lot here. There was really a lot of parts here. I really enjoyed this. This was fun. Typical V8 Cadillac engine there, right? Like we said, it's a 4-speed hydromatic transmission. Miller Meteor Company, a GM 390 V8, 325 horsepower at 4,800 RPMs. So it's a beauty. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to get 20,000 subscribers, so every subscription counts. I'd like to thank each and every one of you who already subscribed to my channel. It's been a real pleasure being able to build these models for you all. Check out my other builds when you get a chance. The Aston Martin DB5, the Nissan GTR R35, and the Back to the Future DeLorean. So they've all been fun so far. So if you get a chance, subscribe to this. It's a fantastic car. It's going to be huge. Don't pass this one up. This is really cool. This Ghostbuster car is really cool. So happy modeling, everybody, and take care.